Okay, we're live. Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I am your ever-loving host, Shorty, and carrying on our week of doing like all the reviews. We're doing one about Vault Comics today. People who've been following me for a while, like pre-video days when I used to do this as a silly little podcast on Podbean, you'll know Vault Comics, along with like Scout and Aftershock. They're a bunch of smaller press ones that I think deserve way more recognition than they get, and they're getting there. They've been announced that a few of these companies are going to have their own line of action figures and collectibles, and working with studios to get movies made and that kind of thing. And that's brilliant. Love that kind of thing. But when I say I don't get attention, I mean comic books. I mean, you guys should be reading these comic books. They are great. Today we're doing The Devil's Red Bride. First off, I want to say, wish I hadn't gone for the cover A. If you've got the ability, search for this and find out what the other covers look like. This is cool. It's bold. It's probably a bit more minimalist than the others. But cover B and cover C just look way cooler. There begins and ends the negative things I've got to say about this comic book. Probably no surprise there. In fact, I'm going to go one further. I'm going to say something which I usually complain about in comic books. I'm actually thinking there's a positive for this one. Because when I talk about how comics are written, usually, like, you know, I can talk about a page layout and story and all that kind of thing, world building, but style is another very important thing. Some of my favorite writers are the ones that make conversation between characters, make the dialogue flow in a way that seems natural and normal to me. When something comes across as like just a big screen blockbuster script, and it's all over the top, kind of overly verbose sentence structure, or even just like really obvious, like well scripted lines, I find myself drifting away from it a little bit. It's the kind of thing which stops me appreciating the nature of the character if their dialogue comes across as something which no real person would say. When it comes to samurai stories, I have literally no other form of context other than samurai movies. Don't get me wrong, I'm a student of history, but feudal Japan, it's not something I've looked into. I know a little bit of the martial stuff because of my vague interest in that direction, but I've not done any like primary source reading. I don't know the nature of conversations or anything like that. So all I've got is movies, and this reads like a movie. And that's a good thing. That's clearly what they're going for here. I mean, the people who write it, Gunnar and Bivens, they basically are coming out there and effectively saying, yes, this is a samurai revenge story, which for me just screams motion picture. I kind of wish they'd done what the people who I reviewed We Live yesterday, and they actually had like a code that you can scan to get a soundtrack. I kind of wish they'd done that for this. I want to know what they had playing in their heads when they were writing, because I'm sure it'd be epic as hell. And I'm going to get to a combat sequence now, because, well, first of all, I'm going to show you a bit from a battle. This bit isn't for children, it's pretty gross, but you kind of get an impression you know what you're getting in for when that's like only a few pages in. But they go a bit above and beyond that. They push it to combat working so smoothly that you don't even really notice it sometimes. There is a kind of I don't want to say cliche, it's not quite the word, a trope of the fast drawer and the samurai, that ability to a friend of mine called Anthony who'd be able to tell you what this is actually called, but when you draw and put a strike in at the same time, like I said, I don't really know enough about the samurai thing, and it's used quite a lot in movies, TV shows, and even comic books, that you see the draw and there'll be a splash of red. It's supposed to indicate like a speed and strength kind of thing. This one, we have a situation here where it just doesn't happen. You don't see it. You see the after effect of it and the sword being put back. There's no draw done there. There is no little snick as it comes loose from the scabbard. It's literally just a moment in time that we don't see, to kind of imply that the person being attacked doesn't see it either. And that scene I've just shown you where he's like clearly bleeding from the mouth there, that's not because he got attacked in the head. The next page shows you actually what happened to him, and it is amazing. It is gruesome and bloody and fantastic. And that's exactly what I wanted out of it. Now, what else is going on here is just a huge, long revenge story. And that's brilliant, because that's kind of cool what samurai and also Western stories can do. And there's also like crossover between Western and samurai stories. And anyone who knows my love for Westerns is probably not totally surprised that I'm also going to be a fan of some samurai revenge stuff. But they do put together this really lovely, intricate series of moving parts which form relationships and conflict through characters you never actually meet in the comic book to begin with. Hopefully we'll see some of them later on, because they do some flashbacks. But all of that comes together to give a an absolutely brilliant motivation for what's happening. There's something else going on which I'm not quite clear on yet. There's something which I think might be a hint of supernatural. That's not going to bother me at all. Put all that kind of stuff in samurai stuff. I love it, and I want to see where that goes, because that kind of also scratches a little itch for some storytelling stuff I do myself. All in all, I've got to say, if it wasn't for the fact that I reviewed Kieran Gill and Jason Burrows' bit of comic book earlier on this week, this would be the best thing I've read all week. And I think, even though I can say that, yes, the Warhammer 40,000 Minus Calgo book had like an awful lot going for it, I think this one actually is more likely to make its way onto my best of the year list, simply because it doesn't have that huge star power, which kind of like just makes the expectation that it's going to be like this amazing thing, and it's tying in like decades of pre-written canon work. This is its own standalone thing, but it works within the confines of its genre so effectively, and it takes what is usually a movie and TV series kind of way of telling a story and learns that you can't do all of that in a different medium. You are having to make changes, and it does it just brilliantly. Honestly, best, yeah, love it. Absolutely brilliant. If you have a comic book store that can get it in, reach out to them. We have one copy left. So if you're watching this and you know my store and you want to get in contact, do it sooner rather than later. I think we can order more of the cover A, but cover B and C has already sold out. And I've looked at how long I've been going. I've gone well over my 5 minutes. But in case you couldn't tell, I have thoroughly enjoyed this one, and I could probably carry on talking about it for another 5. But I've got another review to do later on. We're going to do, I think, one from Scout Comics next. So if you fancy another smaller indie press one, keep an eye out. Hit the subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on anything we do. Or go to our website, ka-pow-comics.co.uk, and all of our videos eventually end up on there. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you very much. Bye.